What is going on, everybody? Ryan Leary, William Tincup here on the BARF. This is the look at the week that was, so you could be prepared for the week that is. I stumbled there a bit, huh? It's all good though. That's we'll have to practice that more. What's going on, man? How are you?
Good, man. It's a wonderful Sunday here in Arlington, Texas,
Yeah.
and got Henry in the house for about 14 more days before we drop him off to college.
And he is gone
And he will be in the Army.
for
So,
9 years.
yeah, you're in the Army now, son. Yeah.
Daddy can't help you anymore.
No, he's got a new
No.
daddy.
Oh, well, that was good.
He's got a new daddy.
You got a new daddy, son.
Yeah, it's Uncle Sam.
How is he going to take the drill sergeants and all of that?
Dude, I've thought about this a lot. He's been living under my roof for 18 years, and I can be relatively volatile. If he can live with me,
He can live with them.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be all right.
Yeah.
He's
I'm not
gonna
sure.
be-
I'm not sure I could take the structure. However,
He
the
needs it.
things that you've described,
Yeah.
certain number of items, you only
yeah.
have this, you wear this every day. I could be down with that because finding clothes every day,
Oh no,
that really
No,
sucks.
the Brigadier General who's over the Commandant. Sorry, so the Commandant sent an email yesterday, and basically said you're going to come at your assigned times. You're going to park in Lock 40, and then you're going to leave your stuff in your car. Your son will come and check in, have all of his forms ready, and you'll go to a different room where the parents are.
And you'll
And
never see
once-
him again.
And it's working towards that, right? And then once he's checked in, he will come and find you. You will go to the car,
Yeah.
and then you will take his stuff to his room, and then you will leave.
I wish drop off is like that all the time. I
Very
mean,
matter of
drop off days sucked, man. Like everybody wanted to stay and
Very
hang out
emotional.
and this
No.
and that.
No. Tell me a little bit about your roommate. No, there'll be none of that.
No, it was emotional for the parents, but the kid, we're just like, get the f out of
yeah.
here. Like, let's
No, they're-
go.
It's good for all parties involved. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, like it'll be with Van and Michael and I driving home. I'm sure it'll be emotional and stuff like that. However, there won't be any emotion during that process. The emotion has been squished out.
There is no emotion. Drop your son
No.
off and get out.
Get out. Well, no,
Nice.
and even explicitly says if it's not on the packing list, don't bring it.
Oh, that's fantastic. If it's on the packing list, bring it. If it's not, do not bring it. There's no improvision here. That's it.
No, that's the military. Again,
Yeah.
it's good
No.
for some kids, not good for others. This kid,
Yeah.
he'll be good. He'll be good.
Most of that would have been good for me, except for boot camp, except for all of
I
the
know,
hard
man, you're
work that
pretty
comes
competitive.
after it.
You're pretty competitive. You would have done fine in boot camp.
I truly believe I would do fine. But
Yeah.
and I probably would have had a much different life, better life. I don't know. I
Different wife, different kids.
yeah, like my whole life would have been very different. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
All right. Now we're fans of earned wage access, right?
Yeah,
Can
we
say
are.
that? We can say that?
We are fans
All
of
right,
earned wage access.
I got a story for you. The Consumer
man,
Financial
bring it on.
Protection Bureau proposed an interpretive rule on Thursday saying that programs offered by employers that directly to users of fintech apps are consumer loans and subject to the Truth in Lending Act. So this is CNBC, so you go check it out. But so what does this mean? Under the proposed rule, users would see fees expressed as APR, like credit card interest rates. Costs or fees incurred by consumers that access their paychecks early would need to be expressed as an annual percentage rate, APR. So they'd be able to see that, and the typical earned wage access user pays fees that amount to 109.5 APR,
What?
despite the service offered being
You sure that's
marketed
not
as
10.9?
109.
Dang.
109.5.
Talk about predatory.
Like a good summer day in Texas. So, but they're marketed as free or low cost solutions. And again, the devil's in the details, right? So we look at, and not everybody, when we were at Ceridian, I think it was last year, they have a thing called Wallet. and
Right.
it's an earned wage access thing, but there are no fees. There's no
Yeah.
fees to the company. There's no fees to the
And the
person.
majority of them don't have any fees.
I don't know. Now that we're
Well,
saying that, now I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know that to be true, but
109.5. That just seems like,
it's predatory. You said it exactly right. That
yeah.
seems that just doesn't seem
I
like it
mean,
should be
shit, go
something.
get an American Express, have your 22.5 and pay your bills and you'll be better off.
Yeah, 109.5%. So
What's the
again,
purpose behind this?
well, because you're accessing that fee early, or you're accessing your wages early, and they're putting a fee on top of it.
Yeah,
I
again,
mean,
I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me.
no, and it doesn't
It's
make
my
sense to me
money. I
either.
earned it. That's like these employers that take
But
tips
see,
from employees.
but see, if they're using that as float, meaning
Different
we're doing
story.
the paycheck. Yeah, they're
Yes.
charging a finance fee.
Right.
Again, I don't think you're like yourself. I don't think every earned wage access. So we're going to be asking as we talk to some of these vendors, what the
Yeah.
fees look like, and I think we'll find out who's doing it and who's not. But
Yeah.
again, it's a
All right.
proposed rule, so it isn't done yet. But I mean, the fact that they're onto it is something for us
Yeah.
to pay attention to.
I could see. Okay, I could see a fee. Right. You
Yeah.
use a fee for ATM. I understand. 109 is a bit much. Like make it 10.9. That sounds fair to me.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
It's again, there you go.
Is what it is. Right. All right. ADP.
Hmm.
This is actually, so we love ADP. We love the people at ADP. We talk all the time with these guys. We do a lot of stuff with them. ADP settles a lawsuit for a
Hmm.
convicted murderer,
Okay.
or were they? Who knows? So ADP Screening and Selection Services settled a lawsuit for incorrectly reporting a job candidate as a convicted murderer, not felon, or
Hmm.
a run they ran red, like a
Slicing up
murderer.
kids. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like they
Got it.
ate them up and put them away. Anyway, so in November, another lawsuit was filed for incorrectly reporting someone as a convicted drug dealer. Trends. So ADP, they did settle, but this isn't an ADP thing per se. This is that they use ADP selection services. Background checks, you know this. They have a
Yeah.
systemic
Yeah. Yeah.
issue of data, right? There's systemic data issues that influence the results. And so inherently it's a flawed process. So I think I don't know the solution because I am not super smart in this area, or many areas at that. But bad data, bad results.
Yeah.
This is an example, and this isn't just an ADP thing. This is just an ADP
Huh.
example, but there's
Right.
there's a ton of them out there. So how do
Be
we?
interesting to see if that's a third party
Yes,
screen. Screen like if they're using a third party to do that, or
they
if
are.
that's their own. They are.
Yeah, they are, and,
S-
most do, and this is the problem. It's they're relying on specific data. However,
Right.
ADP in this case
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
screening and selection and didn't go back to verify. And turns out that now I can't remember if it was a drug dealer or the murderer situation, but
Well, the good
in
news
in
here.
in one of those situations, they didn't go back to the local municipality to confirm. It was
Right.
just taken as a source of truth. Now, part of that is on the employer side as well, in my opinion. They
Yes.
saw it. They just said, well, no,
Yep. Not going forward. Yep.
but didn't do any additional verification.
Horrible for candidates. Totally get it. But if there is a silver lining, at least they erred on the side of don't hire this person. Like, no, seriously. Imagine if they would have. Imagine if there was a convicted murderer,
Yeah,
and they flagged it as dude's a solid citizen. So if
true.
there is a silver lining, I don't think there is, but if there is a silver lining, at least they
Yeah.
erred on someone being horrible, right? Because it
I
could have been
guess
the other
so.
way.
Yeah.
They could have passed someone through and said, "Oh yeah, dude,
Yeah.
great kid, hire him absolutely," and
Yeah.
now you've got risk. Again,
Right.
they would have still been sued, and it would have still been a different. It would have been a different
It'd
thing.
have been a different thing, but at least it would. Yeah. No, I hear what
Yeah,
you're saying. But
yeah.
again, this isn't just an ADP thing. This is, I think this is industry wide.
Oh,
If
100%.
if they're leveraging third party data
That's why so many people are getting into identity and
verifications. Yeah.
verification and monitoring and all that other stuff to where it goes deeper.
Yeah.
All right, so the last three shows, the last three BARFs, we've talked about DEI being dropped
Yeah.
from Tractor Supply, woof,
Mm-hmm.
John Deere, woof, this past week, Microsoft. So
Yes.
Microsoft fires DEI team, and in the memo it says no longer business critical.
Hmm.
So I found this actually on campusreform.org, which I was looking at it from the college recruiting perspective. So because we've had a lot of calls lately about talking about Gen Z
Yeah.
and how they look at jobs differently. So this is the
I almost have the years in my mind. Like I could tell you when Gen Z is an X.
uh-huh.
I
Oh
still
yeah,
can't remember. Yeah,
you're
but I'm
noodling.
close. Go ahead.
So as we've talked about in the last two episodes, I kind of get Tractor Supply and John Deere because they can hide behind the audience that they or the people consumers that they serve. And again, I still think it's a hide. I think it's an excuse to get rid of a program that they didn't really believe in the beginning. But I don't get Microsoft. This
Hmm.
one, when it came across the wire, it really perplexed me. Like I think I sent you a screenshot of it, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
I don't get this. And so,
But is
you know,
it is
natural,
this a situation though of not that it's not business critical, but with because a lot of these there's discussions on news about this CNNs
right,
of the world
right.
where it's baked into the fabric. I'm using air quotes for those not watching. Fabric
That sounds
of
good.
the business sounds good, but what does
And
that really mean?
here's the rub, and this is going to be the rub for anybody that cares about DEI. If there's no one in charge of it, and you basically say, "Hey, it's everyone's responsibility," that sounds good, right?
Right.
It's everybody's responsibility. But if no one's in charge of it, no one's actually monitoring success.
That's true.
So it's easy to hide behind that and say, "Well, diversity, we're past the point of saying that we need a team that does this X, Y, and Z." No, it's everyone's responsibility to care
Right.
about diversity. Blah blah blah. If everyone cares about it, no one cares about it, and then
That's a
you
good
also
point.
don't have the layer of responsibility, etc. So I'm thinking about Microsoft is a huge college recruiter. Like
Hmm.
they do a ton of recruiting there and in general, right? They're in Seattle. Like this is again, if this were Houston, Texas, I'll just use my own state.
Yeah.
If this was Houston,
Uh huh.
Texas, I get it. like, come on now, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. A bunch of energy guys. I totally understand. This is Seattle,
Yeah.
like one of the more progressive places in America. So like I don't get this at all, and I think there's going to be more that comes out over this
Yeah.
over time. I think you're right. I think they are going to say, "Hey, listen, it's everybody's responsibility." That's why it's not business critical because it's it goes through
Yeah.
everyone's responsibilities,
Yeah.
which I think is horseshit.
Which doesn't, yeah, which doesn't get to success, or you can't
No.
monitor
Mm-mm.
success. I will say, if Texas as a state had an uprising and said, we
Every
are
year,
going to we are going to protest the United States and take on the
uh,
United States, I may,
dude. Every year it
yeah,
happens.
well, it
Actually, I
comes
can
up,
tell you,
but
it's called Texas Independence Day.
yeah, yeah, but I might actually put my money, if I were a betting man, on Texas to win that battle.
We already have our own energy grid. We're good.
Your own, and you have, I feel like you have an arsenal bigger than most countries. I'm just
I
saying.
can I can validate that. I can validate that. No, we're
All
ready.
right, Walmart.
Wally
Walmart
World.
will
All
pay
right.
$2.5 million to settle a class action
Ooh,
lawsuit for pre-shift COVID screening. Now,
that's actual money. Okay.
yes, that's its money, and this is interesting because I fully agree with this. And I agree with this because a while, a few shows back, we talked about my daughter who is
Mm-hmm.
working at, well, she quit. More power to her. She said, stick it. And she did.
Yep.
Um, she was a hostess at the restaurant, and they wanted to cross train her to be a runner for tables. Right now, she's 16. Okay,
Right.
the while she was training to help the restaurant do more work, they took her from $11 or $12 an hour down to $4 an hour for three and a half
Oh,
to 4 weeks during training when she's already an employee for like 4 or 5 months.
s- s-
Good for
That's
her. She
shady.
stood up and she quit. Anyway, so this, I'm glad this happened for Walmart. So, because this is happening, I'm sure, happened a lot of places. So,
Oh yeah,
they require during COVID pre-shift COVID testing. Make sure you're not
right.
positive.
But
15 to
you're
20
clocked.
minutes.
You should be clocked in for that. You're
Right.
there.
15 to 20 minutes it takes you to get your test and wait and all that
Yeah.
stuff. They
Oh.
were not paid for that. That was pre-shift. Now,
Mm,
right? So this was in Arizona, affects roughly 81,000 people or so. So they're going to be paying this out because when you're under the control of an employer, in this case, pre-shift COVID testing, you have to get in line, you have to be quarantined, you
yeah.
have to take
Yeah.
your test.
The,
You need to be compensated for that, right? This is part of your work schedule, and they didn't do
that's
that. Now in
that's only fair.
22, yeah, in 22, Apple paid out 30.4 million. So over
Oh,
30 million to settle a very similar thing, the same thing in California, for off, but not for COVID. This was for off the clock. Okay, air quotes again for those not listening and just or not watching. Sorry, uh, for security checks. So when they left for meal breaks, they came in. When your shift ended, they have to go through bag checks to make
right.
sure you're not stealing anything and things like that. They weren't
That should be
compensated for
paid.
that.
Yeah, you got to be paid for that. That's
You're
got to
in
be a
line
part
for
of you.
15, 20 minutes to get screened by your employee. Yes,
That's
$30 million
just.
Apple paid out for that.
Again, that's. And those are just two examples this week. God only
Yeah,
knows how many examples there are in the United States. Because that's just shitty to treat your employees like that. I mean, again, it's their time.
yeah,
Pay them for their time. It's no big deal.
yeah. So I think that well, I know this is the biggest story, but for me, for parents that are out there, I doubt kids are listening to us, but for those that are listening that have kids that are working and the kids are complaining, "Oh, I have to do this and I don't get paid." Like it's a real
Pay
thing.
attention. It
Yeah,
is a
pay
real thing.
attention to that because if I add up all the hours that she trained over 3 to 4 weeks, it's a paycheck or two for her.
Oh
Like
yeah.
in money wise, not going to change her life,
No,
but
but still.
she had the cojones to stand up and say,
But
"I'm out."
it's also sending a signal to her as a future employee that you don't matter. Your
Right?
time doesn't matter, which
Yeah.
is that's unfortunate because
Yeah.
time matters.
Absolutely, it does. So anyway, I thought that was well
Oh
worth
yeah.
the story.
Let me read you a headline, right? 16 Chinese employers sued for requiring pregnancy tests from female job seekers.
Oh, wow. Next story. Like, what else do you say about that?
Start twitching.
Could you
Just
imagine
on
going into a job interview and they're like, okay,
there you go.
pee on this?
Yeah, just go ahead and pee on this.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I found this on hcamag.com. You can read more about it, but HR in China is very
Is
much like the
there
1950s.
is
No,
there HR in China?
well, that's HR. It's screening. I mean, yeah,
I
it's
guess.
screening. It's not screening in the way that
It's
anyone
screening.
here in the United States would accept as screening for a
Huh.
number of reasons. But that's legit. And then so in one case, a woman, so out of these 16, in one case, a woman was found expecting a baby, was not hired.
Hmm.
So,
I'm sure there was
so,
a lot more cases than that.
so not only did they give you was it Clear Blue or whatever the hell the pregnancy test is, not only did they give you those during the process, like, all right, just go in the bathroom and yep, bring back the stick. Not only did that happen, in the case where they brought back the stick and it said that they were pregnant or expecting, they said, hey, thanks, but no thanks. Bye-bye.
Wow.
Dude, I mean, when I had to read it like twice so to make sure I was reading it right, like
Yeah.
correctly. Like, no, this is actually legit. This is happening in China right now, and this is what we know. God only knows of the
Oh
HR
God.
things that
Yeah.
we don't know in Russia or China, North
It's
Korea,
actually
etc.
pretty funny, sad but funny story. So that's
Sad but funny.
yeah. All right. HireVue is back at it, named in a lie detector lawsuits
Lie
with
detector.
an S. Suits. So so all right. So we all know like HireVue's had its issues in the past,
It
right?
has
So
facial recognition. Yeah.
yeah. So biometric, facial rec, lie detector suits. This is like it's almost like every year you expect higher view to be named in something like this. So these lawsuits essentially are highlighting concerns over privacy, informed consent, and the use of biometric data
Hmm.
in an AI driven hiring process.
Right.
So essentially what's happening is it's in one of the suits, or I guess in this suit that I'm talking about, is out of Boston for well, I forget who it was, Milton residents, whatever it was. Um, it was tracking smiles, facial
Smiles.
expressions, all of that stuff, and then making recommendations based on that. So is he telling the truth? Is he being a little quirky? Oh, look, he did
Right.
this. That means he's potentially doing this, and then making recommendations based on that. And so, again, they were named as there's multiple of them that are active and out there. So the more you dig, the more pops up. This is just the latest in that, which it's. I don't think it's going away. I think Higher View has been at this for a very long time, and they keep coming out on top. And I'm kind of my personal feelings on this. I don't know
Do you
that I
do it?
hate it. I don't
Well, the
love
thing,
it, but I don't
yeah,
hate it either.
the thing is again, cultural issues are going to jam all this stuff up.
Yeah.
When you bring in different races, different cultures, different ethnic backgrounds, religious backgrounds,
No.
etc. So someone that smiles, let's just use kind of an
Oh,
extreme
sure. Yeah.
situation. Like you and I have worked with a lot of Indian people in the past, right?
I'm
And Indian
smiling. I
people,
keep
yeah.
smiling.
By the when an Indian guy when you're working with them
They nod. Yeah.
and they're nodding like this.
Right.
They're not nodding like yeah, I
Right.
got you. They're nodding this way. Well, wait a minute. If if the software is set up in such a way to where it can't recognize that as a cultural difference,
Right.
then you're going to have all kinds of fallout. It's
Yeah.
basically making it
Yeah.
homogenous. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, everyone that smiles is like this. Everyone that uses their eyes like this. Like I was taught
Hmm.
growing up not to look people in their eyes.
Hmm.
Like my grandmother and grandfather actually taught me when someone's speaking, you listen, you put your ear
Uh-huh.
up and you put your eyes down. It's like
Well,
for the
see, I put
six.
my ears up just because I can't hear them. Like I'm getting to that point in life where I'm
Yeah,
like, I start turning to the side. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm
get
like,
one of those cones. Get one of those cones. Just kind of lean in. It's there.
yeah. But
So
honestly, so here's where I'm torn. They've been at this a long time. They've been going through these
Harvey,
lawsuits for
2008.
yeah, for forever they've been doing this and get going through these
Oh,
lawsuits. But if we're going to leverage technology in the process,
yep.
this I kind of feel like this
You're gonna run
needs
into
to be
stuff.
part of this. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
run into this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in some ways, again, they were one of the probably three companies that were started off with video
Mhm.
interviewing. I started the category, and they've always been on the innovative side. And
Yeah.
I think this is where, as an innovator, you run the risk of
Right.
right making mistakes, and so when your mistakes are kind of blown out of proportion, we
Hmm.
go forward 2 years, and this might not be a thing.
Well,
It's
in
like, yeah,
2 years, companies are going to be buying this hand over foot and saying,
good point.
I mean, look, people, it's happening anyway, right? In
Right,
interviews, it's just happening by the human. So the human is being biased, and the human is making the errors.
right.
Technology will go through the same issues, and I think for the most part, I shouldn't say this. I shouldn't say that because I don't know, but I would assume because I'm a believer in technology, it's going to be better than humans at this.
Oh
And
yeah, in
so,
time.
in
Yeah.
time, yeah, I just don't think it's a bad thing. I think for now they'll go through the growing pains, and
Well,
that's okay.
think about it when the calculator was first invented,
Hmm.
and everyone was using abacuses and using different long division and all
Right.
that type of stuff. That someone built a calculator, put it in front of people, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't trust that shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use my abacus. I'm gonna use my
Yeah.
own way of doing math."
Who's
And
using
then
an
at one,
abacus now?
pretty much right.
Yeah.
At one point, they're like, "You know what? I trust this little machine. We're good."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I like the
same thing.
fact that we were not allowed to use calculators in school.
No,
Now they have to use calculate.
they
Like they
have
say,
to.
no, you just use the like what
They're scientific calculators.
I
Yeah.
can learn how to put a function into a calculator, and that makes I get. Different times. I get it.
U.S. union organizing and unions election rate is surging. NLRB
Hmm.
says. So this is on Reuters. So you go take a look at it. Backdrop: the board in a release said it has received more than 2,600 union election petitions during the fiscal year that ended on September 30th, surpassing the full previous fiscal year. So my
Hmm.
question is, why is unionization so interesting now? Like now versus 2019, right? So why
Hmm.
is that? Is it inflation? Is it politics? Is it like that's a lot? The fact that they already have their number from last year
Yeah.
and it's July 28th, they've still got 2 full months of seeing what happens. That's insane. So I don't understand. I don't know understand why unionization is sexy now. That's my struggle. Is when I read that. First of all, I was
Hmm.
surprised. Second of all, why why is this now versus 2019? Like during
Hmm.
that period of COVID, like I could see shit just kind of blowing up and doing different things. Like okay,
Yeah.
outside of that, 2019 was a relatively normal year ish. So why is it different? Do you have any idea why it's sexy or in vogue?
Well, I think because employees are feeling the pinch from employers now. Employers want to go back to certain things. Employers
Hmm.
want to do certain things, and employees don't have a voice. Non-union employees don't have a voice, and Erica is in this situation now.
Right.
She is. So for those that are listening, that don't know everything about my family, Erica is my
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Um, there we go. So she's a teacher, and for the last couple of years, she has been an assistant teacher as she went back into the workforce. Well, I think we were talking about this the other day, or somebody was with me. She's 35 hours, not full time. So at 35 hours, that's,
That's full
I
time.
mean, come on, right? Like that's full time. Let's be real, right? But
I
they
think
cut
that's
her off an
legally
hour
full
short
time.
per day because that's the
Right.
position.
Ah.
However, she's not entitled to the 40-hour benefits of a teacher, and
Right.
she's in the classroom doing the job of the teacher. So I've always had an issue with this. Now
What?
she just got a message that they want to unionize for the
Union.
assistant teachers, not just
That'll get them the benefits.
that'll get to the benefits, and her years should add up to a pension and all of
Yeah.
this stuff, right? And so, because in order for her to get her pension, she's got what she would starting from zero because she just went back into the workforce after a long
Right.
break from raising family, and she's only part time because she's
Right.
35
Well,
hours.
that's not
So,
part time.
right, it's not part time, right? So now, hopefully, a union comes in like they're doing and organizes them, and she gets that credit because without the
And then
assistant
negotiate.
teachers, they
Yeah.
can't teach the classroom. It's not
Right.
just an assistant teacher for the sake of having. There's too many kids.
Right.
They need to
Right.
do certain things, and so take
You,
her
you,
out of the room. That
yeah.
classroom doesn't have a teacher now,
No.
so she needs
No.
to be
That's
entitled. And I think that's what's happening across the board.
what. Well,
Workers are
that makes
coming
sense
back
to me.
in, and employers are trying to kind of snipe them and take advantage of that. And we're going to see more of this.
Okay. Check.
My thoughts.
No, I like it.
So I put this in here because it's your hometown, well, your home state,
Tejas. Yeah. Yeah.
Tejas chocolate and Tejas dragon. Did I say that right?
Hmm.
So used employee tips to buy condiments and packaging. All right, so there's really not a story here. This is just like
So the tip jar goes to the
the
manager. The
all
manager
the
then
credit
buys.
card tips, the tip jar, the whole bit. Yeah, they went
That's just
to the
sorry.
restaurants and to the chocolate company and the restaurant, whatever it is, to buy condiments and packaging for the business, and never gave it to the employees. So
That's
anyhow,
that's that's just terrible.
yeah, they're being sued. I threw it in there because I saw it, and you're in Texas, and I thought you would enjoy that and not support this.
Yes.
So there you go.
Well, yeah. So Salesforce and Workday form strategic partnership and unveil a new AI employee service agent. It's going to be found in newsroom.workday.com. Whenever you see two of probably the most successful SaaS players to ever be around
Hmm.
collaborating, it's something to watch. So the customers of both solutions must have overlap between Salesforce and Workday, probably 90%.
Hmm.
Where there is Workday, there is Salesforce. Where there is Salesforce, there's Workday, etc. This is an AI-powered assistant for employee services, use cases being onboarding, health benefits, career development within
Hmm.
Salesforce and Workday. So if you're
Right.
running Workday, it does it there. If you're running Salesforce, it can do it there as well.
Right.
So again, for me, it's looking at those two behemoths and successful SaaS companies coming together and do stuff. It's worth watching and paying attention to.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, acquisition time. You got some
Do it.
acquisitions we want to talk about. So,
Hey.
Fortis acquires NetSuite Payments division of Merchant E.
Hmm.
So, um, this is. I'll give an example of how this plays in the HR. This is payment processing, etc. So, scaling a business, you got to be fast, right? You got to be nimble, accurate, especially when it comes to payments and reimbursements and essentially commerce in general. So I think this is a good acquisition for them, and this is how it plays into HR. So let's just say company is using an all-in-one HR platform, right? Take your pick. It handles recruitment, onboarding, employee records, performance management. So what it doesn't handle is payroll and expenses directly. They've got to HR has got to manage a payroll processor. HR has got to manage an expense reimbursement. They got to expense a reward, all that stuff, right? This allows them to now embed the payment processing into their HR platform. And so now it all comes
Oh,
in
cool.
house and they're able to handle this all in one, literally all in one without logging in the other platforms. So it's,
Good acquisition.
yeah, good acquisition. We'll see where it goes. And they've been around for a long time, 20, 25 years, something like that. So they're on the move and we'll see where it goes.
Good acquisition. Talent blog Job Board Doctor was acquired by Catch-22 Group, a company founded by industry vets Julie Sowash and Chad Sowash of the
Hmm.
Chad and Cheese podcast, etc.
Yeah.
Found this on LinkedIn. So first of all, congrats to
Yes.
Julie and Chad. Jeff has been doing great work. I've looked at that blog for years, the Job
Yeah.
Board Doctor, and he's been very matter of fact about the industry. It's a trusted source. Been doing great stuff, and I can't wait to see where Julie and Chad the Catch 21
Catch
22
22.
group.
Yep.
Can't wait to see where they take it. So good for them
Yeah,
and good
interested
for
to see.
Jeff.
Yeah, yeah. Congrats to everyone involved, and interested to see where we're going. Maybe we'll get Chad up in and Joel on, and or Chad and Julie on, and we'll talk,
Yeah, yeah,
figure it out. All right, Active Track launches a new feature. So it's not an acquisition,
yeah. Hmm.
but I didn't think it was breaking news, so I kind of put it in here because they've acquired a new thing. But it's very interesting in the fact that it goes along with a lot of what we've talked about over the last couple of months. So ActiveTrack launches new features: time tracking, alerting, goal setting, and exception reporting. Sorry, for large organizations. So I think it was last week. We might have talked about a week before. Wells Fargo. They fired
Hmm.
about a dozen employees for simulating work,
Yep, yep.
right? Mouse clicking, moving, key cards, all that stuff. So ActiveTrack solves this issue. This is what they do. So offline
Hmm.
meeting tracking, right?
Right.
They track offline meetings through a calendar integration that essentially provides a complete picture of what that employee's workday is. They capture online and offline activities.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, so they have pre-configured alarms and all of this stuff. So what it's able to do is detect non-working activities like streaming, browsing social, searching for jobs. That'd be funny. Like mouse jiggler software, right? So your mouse just moves every 20 seconds, right? So essentially, incorrect use of business tools, where employees unintentionally expose, PII,
Huh.
personally identifiable information.
Hmm.
Um, but I like this. I didn't know where to put it. I think it was breaking news. It's definitely not an acquisition, but they've
No, no,
acquired
but it's good stuff.
new features, and I think
Again, this
we've
is
done
going
a
to
number of
scare the
stories
hell
on
out
this.
of it's going to scare the hell out of most of the people that listen to us because they're going deeper into monitoring
Yeah,
and more different systems to find out are you actually working,
yeah,
which the struggle is and can be real depending on the job. Like I listen to music all day long.
right.
Like my Spotify or YouTube, I have music playing. I literally during webinars,
You're
during
listening to music right
podcasts,
now. You've got
I
some Limp
am.
Bizkit on in your ear.
I know not Limp Bizkit, but I do have a Tribe Called Quest. But I mean, I
Yeah.
have music
Tribe is
going
good
at
too.
can I kick it all the time. So if they're looking at my work or evaluating my calendar and
Uh
I'm
huh.
looking at the systems that are going on, all right, what is it? What is it reporting back to
Right.
them? Or if I can have a movie rolling if it's especially if it's a movie I've seen before.
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption or something like that, something I've seen a million times, I can have that rolling while I'm working,
Right. Right.
especially doing kind of task where I'm
Hmm.
working in Excel or something like that. Like I can just have a movie rolling and
Yeah.
not think twice about it.
Yeah.
So
It's a creative. I think it's a creative driver for many people.
it,
We talked about if at some point I'm gonna get the energy to redo the office here. I want a big TV. It's
yeah.
not. I'm not even gonna watch it.
Now
I
see that
just
won't show up. That won't show up in their software because that'll be offline.
it'll
That'll
be
be a
offline.
TV
Right.
that's
Right.
monitored. It'll be
Right.
off your
It's not gonna
screen.
be here. Yeah. But having it in the background, which even if it was like on my top monitor or sides, like it's fine. Like I don't even look at it because
Right?
if I look at it, I do
Yeah, it's
kind of
just
get
noise.
distracted. It's just on.
Just
Yeah, it's kind of like
yeah.
sleeping with TV on for me. I need it on. Doing a research paper at the last minute, all good. Speaking of which, we've got some research to talk about.
Oh, segue. One Digital released the findings of its 2024 Employee Value Perception Study. This is at launch.onedigital.com,
Mm.
EVPS, Employee Value Perception Study. So this is responses over 2,000 plus U.S.-based employees. A few nuggets. 42% of employees don't consider their medical plan to be competitive. So that's
Huh.
roughly half. 53% of employees recognized feel recognized for their personal achievements. So when you read that, the other 47,
47%.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
first read
I
that, I'm
don't
like,
know.
oh, okay, it's not
I'm not
bad.
sure. See, I struggle here. I don't know if it's me thinking this way or after all of these years being around you. I think this way because that's exactly how I read it. 53% are happy. 47%
Yeah,
said
aren't.
I'm out of here. Like they don't like your organization.
No,
So
they
let's,
just don't feel recognized.
you could try to be positive about that, but 47%.
There's no positivity in that.
That's
Sorry.
it's like the presidential favorable, right?
Yes.
Polls. Like, oh, he's 47% favor.
Eh,
53% just said you suck as president. Like that's
that's
not good.
that's a couple 100 million. That's not good.
Whatever. This here gets me excited. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. 48% of employees fear accidents could devastate their financial future. And again,
Mm.
this is their employee value perception study. So it's their perception is their reality.
Mm.
So go take a look at the study. It's quite fascinating. And again, it's a large sample size, so you could
Yeah.
trust the data.
Yeah. 2,000
All right.
people.
Let me tell you a little bit about the 2024 Disability Equality Index Report, the most
Okay.
comprehensive benchmarking tool for disability inclusion in business, released its latest findings. This is at disabilityin.org. So IN, I guess, stands for the index, IN. So the numbers look good on the surface, but lack kind of the substance once you get into the details. So let me give you a couple of the nuggets. 64% of U.S. companies use numerical data to track progress in hiring people with disabilities. Again, that
Numerical
means
data.
meaning they're tracking.
Hmm. Okay.
They're tracking people with disabilities in the hiring
So
process, which
30,
means that
30% of our
30,
workforce is okay.
are not. Yeah,
or not. Yeah.
36% are not tracking.
Right.
So 51% of U.S. companies require all people managers to take at least one training on disability inclusion. So, as you would read
Okay.
that, 50% of the businesses
Yeah.
don't.
Half of
Now,
America doesn't give a shit.
it gets darker in the next two. 37% of companies make all job interview candidates aware of the option to request an accommodation or accommodations for the interview. So a third make aware of the accommodations that the
Mm-hmm.
candidates could have if they need those. So that's
Okay.
that's a little bit of awareness.
Yeah.
It's also a little bit of like they're just trying to treat everybody the same way, which doesn't
Right.
work if you're trying to get to neurodiverse or if you're looking at disabilities. Now, last one. 6% of U.S. companies have an employee retention and advancement program solely focused on employees with disabilities.
Hmm.
6%.
Yeah.
That's a punch in the nuts right there. So 6% of the U.S. companies, and again, this was over 2,000
Mm-hmm.
folks that responded to this. It was actually 2,500. 6% actually care enough to have a retention and advancement program solely focused on employees with disabilities.
Right.
That should break your heart.
It
There you go.
it does. So when you say that, I felt like, yeah, like, ugh, icky. But as you were finishing that sentence,
Yep.
do people that have disabilities want to have a program designed around them,
It's
or
it.
do they just want to be considered workforce?
Well, again, solely focused on employees with disabilities can be read a number of different ways.
Yeah.
But right, so it could be that they're just pushed into the regular category of employees,
Right.
and there are retention and advancement programs for employees. However, with employees with disabilities need different things from the organization.
Correct. Yes.
Period. In the story, they
Mm-hmm.
just need different things. If you're blind, it turns out you need something different from the organization.
Correct.
So I think having a program that actually retains folks, let's say again, we're using folks that are blind, having a program that actually cares enough says, hey, listen, we care about retaining you. And you know what? You're doing such a great job. Let's figure out like what's your next path.
Right.
Yeah, you can't throw that into the general population
No.
of
Yeah.
employees. You got to
Yeah.
have, in my opinion, you got to have people that care about that enough to then push that forward.
Right. Okay. All right, I've got one here. So,
Okay,
public
what do you got?
AI. This is an article for onboarding jobs.
Mm,
Now, not using software to onboard
r-
people,
right.
but I'll walk you through. So, MIT's David Autor. He wrote this at Autor, Autor, right? So anyhow, this is interesting. So 60% of jobs in 2018 were in types of employment that did not exist before 1940,
Right.
right? That's, I think, kind of obvious.
Yeah.
And this is worth talking about, this article, and you can get this at I got this from Global Newswire, but I'll get you another link. I think MIT has it posted, and it was somewhere else, Forbes or something like that. So the article was about illustrating the human and AI relationship over the next 100 years. Okay, so I want to have to read this because I just don't have the memory for all of this. But listen to these stages. I'm just kind of,
Right.
you'll have a
Go for it.
reaction. But creation of intelligence by humans. So this was from 1986 through 2022. So during this
Okay.
period, humans developed AI by experimenting with new algorithms and leveraging advanced equipment like GPUs. From 2015 until 2035, he's calling this the weak intelligence assisting humans. This is where AI assists humans in various tasks, enhancing productivity, efficiency. We're in this stage currently, right? So this is all of our bots and our cute softwares that you
Right.
get on Facebook and Instagram to go do this and that. Then we get to 2023 until 2050. This is what he calls the, and by when I say he, this is
Yeah. Yeah.
Stephen Wong, who's the Dr. Stephen Wong, sorry, who founded Public AI. So this is the strong intelligence corrected by humans. In this stage, humans primarily provide feedback and corrections to the AI systems so that work on, so it operates ethically, societal norms, etc. Then
Mm-hmm.
we get to the interesting part. 2050 to 2100. This is what he calls, this is, I can't wait for this. This is like what we all imagine. General intelligence with minimal human tuning. This is where general AI systems will operate with minimal human intervention, but humans will still be needed to ensure that AI aligns with the human values and ethics. This is where we start to see over the next 15 to 20 years, he's saying, we see the shift in the workforce in terms of learning and generating and really becoming one with it. And then post that 2050 on. So like our grandkids, like we'll be dead. But
Yeah.
at that point, truly we'll be working with the robots and
Mm-hmm.
managing them as their employees and managing technology in everyday life. It's just part of the fabric of who we are. It's a really interesting piece and it digs pretty deep, but you should check that out. You
I
would
like it.
enjoy it.
I like it. It's
You would enjoy it.
it's very Christopher Nolan. We'll see. Again, I like that there at least there's an idea of a map of how these things play out. The
Yeah.
dates might be off,
Yeah,
and
sure,
some of the
sure.
other things will kind of
Nostradamus type
intersect.
stuff.
Right, but the
Yeah.
idea that he's laid out a map of how these things have,
Uh-huh.
because he went back historically to '88, and will play out. I like it. Cool.
Yeah, so it's a lot of words, but it was one of
No,
those articles I actually read the whole thing and I was like, and I never read, so that was good.
there you go. The 2024 Edelman Trust Barometer
Hmm.
reveals a new paradox at the heart of society in that rapid innovation offers a promise of a new era of prosperity, but instead risk exacerbating trust issues, leading to further societal instability and political polarization. This is at Edelman.com, and this is their trust barometer. Every year they put it
Mm-hmm.
out. Fascinating report. Go download it. It's actually really, really, really cool. But it gives organizations and leaders 4 ways to restore trust. So those 4 ways, or those 4 ways of restoring trust, are: implementation is as important as invention. So meaning
Mm-hmm.
in getting usage out of whatever you're doing is just as
Yeah.
important as inventing something new.
Yeah.
2, business must partner for change. So it's not wildly coyote or wildcatting. The business must actually partner with change,
Right.
not be reactive to change. 3, science must integrate with society. This is
Mm.
one that actually I think over the last couple of years where there's been this kind of demonization of science.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what they're saying, and actually I know it
Right.
is because I read the report. But we've got to respect science enough, but it's got to be integrated into society. So maybe science is so far out there that people don't understand it, and so if they don't understand it, they fear it. If they fear it, they don't trust it. Okay,
Right.
we got to bring that stuff together. And then the last is give me control over my future.
Mm.
If you want trust, right? So instead of the company enabling that, the company needs to enable, hey, listen, you've got control. Here are the different ways that we can help you, and here's the different ways that you can help yourself.
Right.
So you have control over your future.
Hmm.
The Trust Barometer, again, they've been doing it for years. It's really cool. Go take a look at Edelman.com.
Love it.
Trust Barometer.
The trust
Whoop.
barometer. All
Trust
right.
Barometer.
Last one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Aspect 43, our friends over at Aspect 43, Sarah White,
Yep.
they released a new report.
Okay, what do we got?
So it's Insights at Work. Report looks at trending topics, top concerns for employers and companies, and shares a deep dive into buyer behavior
Mm-hmm.
for HR tech, work tech, talent tech, however you want to label it. It's a report that should be read if you care about your workforce and employees. So I'm going to stick that out there. But anyway,
Yeah.
two things stuck out at me. The detailed breakdown of emerging tech. They did a really good job, stellar job of
Bubbles.
discussing. yeah, how AI, automations, analytics, all of that impact talent. They did a really good job breaking that down. And employee experience was the other thing that stuck out. So, all the things that we've been talking about, well-being, mental health, retention, productivity, does a really good
Hmm.
job of, I think, putting those things front and center for leadership to understand like these are important, but this is also how the technology will help you. And it gets into buying behavior and things like that. So, fantastic report. So, Sarah, thank you to you and the team for putting that together. Check it out.
It's interesting that it has all those things together: experience, well-being, mental health, retention, and productivity. Because
Yeah.
it's a chicken and egg conundrum for me.
Yeah.
If the focus is on productivity, then do you do all these things in order to get productivity? If it's about retaining
Hmm.
top talent, do you do these things in order to retain that talent?
Right.
And productivity is not a part of the mix.
Right.
Like I think some of the things we do in work are they're counter to each other. Are we trying to retain employees? Okay, there's a mix. There's a recipe for that. Are we
Yeah.
trying to get more productivity out of employees? Okay, there's a recipe for that. But I'm not sure they're the same recipe.
Right.
I'd love for someone smarter than the two of us combined to then come in and tell me the difference between the two and kind of how those recipes are the same. But I don't think they
Hmm.
are. At least cursory overview, I don't think that the
Yeah.
recipe for retention and productivity are the same.
No. Nope.
All right, are
All
we going
right.
to do some money? Is this
We get.
money? Do we
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
money
money?
time.
Okay. So we both looked at this one because it was really interesting.
Hmm.
Vitable Health, which goes by Vitable, raised 16 million to make healthcare more affordable for small businesses, hourly employees, which
Yeah.
is fantastic. The more we see stuff like this, the more we have hope in humanity. And oh, by the way,
They are.
they
They're
are
from
from
Philly.
Philadelphia.
I know that's why. This is what came up on my radar. I was like, oh, healthcare, whatever. I was
Okay,
like, oh, they're from Philly. All right.
Philly. I think I yes, they're not on the south side. However, they are in Philly, and they're going to use this round of funding. So when you look at the usage of the funds and where they are,
Yeah.
they're located in certain states. And so this is for them just to expand. $16 million are going straight into expansion into other states, and they've got the map kind of blue, light blue, and gray, and where they're going
Right.
to go. And so they've already done all the work to figure out what it's going to take to get
Hmm.
them into those states. So I love this. I love it for hourly employees. I
Yeah.
love that it's based in Philly. I think it's good for competition. I hope that it drives healthcare prices down and gives other people
Yeah.
access to healthcare. Good,
Yeah, and
nothing
they've
but a
got
good story
access
here.
to like thousands of prescriptions or something, like
Right,
free, all this type of stuff.
right.
So yeah, yeah, good for them. All right, Juno raises 8.5 million
Oh,
to expand child disability insurance.
interesting.
So total raise to date is 12 and a half. The 8.5 is their Series A.
Yeah.
So Juno allows parents to receive up to $1 million, 500,000 per qualifying child, in tax-free cash paid monthly in installments for up to 10 years. Okay.
Oh,
Benefit
that's
covers
cool.
children from birth to age 26
Right.
and can be used any way the family chooses. So, supplement lost income, hiring specialized caregivers, addressing medical costs that weren't covered by your primary insurance, etc. So, this is I'm not sure how they do it, all that stuff, but I think this is good. There's really not another, at least that I could find, child specific disability insurance that is out there. You're kind of
And
left to
it's
the benefits of your provider, and so this is
right.
this is that that
I
that
love
new
it.
plan for
I
you.
I know that there's parents out there that have been through some type of accident or some type of thing, and
Yeah,
they need this type of thing. But I also know kids that have been born with like severe cerebral
yeah,
palsy or something like that, and
yeah,
they need constant care. Like
yeah,
I love that. Good for them. Good
yeah,
for the world. Like good for people that can do
yeah,
this. So
yep.
good, Juno. When I reported on Vitable, I want to make sure that if you want to go read more about them, it's at vitablehealth.com. And again, they go by Vitable, so don't be thrown off by that. All right, let's talk about an Egyptian headquartered DuPay raises 13.5 million for global payroll expansion.
Hmm.
This found this on the startupscene.me, and the funds will be used to expand the core business in Egypt and create create products for emerging markets, most likely in Africa and Middle East. I love this. We talked about a Kenyan payroll
Hmm.
player last week. People that are going narrow but deep, like this is in Egypt. They've got their
Right.
own, you know, it's a payroll play for Egyptian companies, etc. So they're going deep into Egypt. But I like the fact that, we have enough players that go wide. It's nice to see these things popping up, and 13.5 million. That's not a small
Yeah.
chunk of change. So congratulations to them. Let's keep an eye on what DuPay does and kind of where they go next.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but when I
Oh
saw
yeah,
the
you should.
name, I know it's Dupay. But in
Yeah,
my mind, I read it as Dope.
DuPay.
Dope. Because it's
Yeah,
the
I can
way
see
it's
that.
spelled. Dope.
Yeah, DuPay.
Yeah, whatever.
Are
Anyway,
you DuPay? Are you
are you
DuPay?
Dope? All right.
I'm not DuPay.
JFF Jobs for the Future announces a humongous $25 million grant.
Okay,
So these guys are based in Boston. They are all about economic being pushing equitable economic advancement.
that's
So
nice.
they're a nonprofit. They work to make education and workforce systems equitable. So education, best practices, a lot of lobbying to influence policies on work and education and things like that. Um, I've never had experience with them, but I did read up on them after I saw this, and they're doing some really interesting and good things. Obviously, someone agrees because they've
They're,
awarded them a $25 million grant. So
they're
congratulations.
doing great work. God's work, man. It's
Yeah,
just helping people. Again, they're helping people that need help, and they're
they're help
giving them
exactly.
jump ahead, leap ahead to
Yeah,
actually help them. Dude,
yeah. This
who
this is
hates that?
about
Who hates
giving.
that?
Yeah, and this is about giving people who don't have the
Right.
ability. Let's say that don't have the. Everybody has the ability, but for people that are underserved,
Access.
underrepresented, access correct. Yeah, they're helping to make this a more level playing field, which is, I mean, we need this. We need this, and so this is a fantastic piece. And congratulations on that massive grant. I hope that helps a lot.
Uplimit raises 11 million in funding, led by Salesforce Ventures, to
Hmm.
accelerate its momentum in becoming a premier AI enterprise learning company. So Uplimit, first of all, you can find us on uplimit.com. Several AI learning products. You and I, because we went to
Hmm.
Cornerstone Connect, we got to kind of see how AI can interact with learning.
Yeah.
But I really like, they have several products, but I really like their AI role play product. So you role play with AI to learn.
Yeah.
So also, Workday Ventures came in on this round.
Okay.
So again, getting back to the work for Salesforce and Workday kind of working together,
Yeah.
this is another way where they're investing together.
Right.
So wouldn't be shocking if these two firms eventually at one point come together in some way.
Become yeah. Who becomes the daddy? Yeah.
Have no idea. I
Yeah.
think Salesforce has a larger market cap,
Yeah.
but you never know. It would be interesting. But I like the play. So just
Yeah.
uplimit.com. Go take a
Okay.
look at them. And when you scroll down, that's all they do is AI learning
Yeah.
products. I think they have
Now,
four distinct ones. Go ahead.
I will say AI roleplay sounds weird.
Oh no, dude,
Like
it's fantastic.
it sounds uncomfortable. That said, my experience completely changed at Cornerstone. Like when I put
Oh
that
yeah, me too.
the VR on, and it's not AI, but VR. When I put that on, I was like, wow, this
Yeah,
is legit. Like
this
this
is
is
legit.
actually legit. And it's yeah, I could totally see it because if I'm doing it in front of people, awkward. But role playing's awkward anyway. I remember this was 20 some years ago when I was working at Enterprise. When I went through an
Oh
interview
yeah.
to become manager and run branches. I had a role play. I'm like,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sitting in front of this person.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, this is awkward. Like you're
Well,
asking me to do,
some
yeah,
people are better at than others, but
yeah,
this
yeah,
is private. This is private. So
yeah,
the again, it's the role play product is always one of several
yeah,
products that they have,
yeah.
but it's the one I like the most
Mm-hmm.
because you're sitting there role playing with an AI
Yeah. Well,
person.
I'll tell you what, if you can't ever find me, it's probably because I have some AI type of role playing or
You're
training
role playing.
happening
Yeah, yeah.
because
Oh yeah,
I could see me doing it in private and then using that in real
yeah.
life.
No, that's fair.
Absolutely.
Especially if it's around fishing.
Yeah, well, yeah. Nah, no, I'd rather be on the water for that, but I guess, yeah. If I'm on a plane or something, that'd be cool. Um, so Rocks, they're based in Tokyo, Japan, raised a Series D. Terms are not disclosed,
Mhm.
but they offer a cloud-based job database for recruitment agencies and for online reference checking service.
Interesting.
So yeah, don't have much information because it's not
Yeah.
disclosed, but worth bringing up because
Oh
they've
yeah.
got some funding.
I like it. Gen Z freelancer platform Passion Fruit raises 9 million to scale its platform for independent workers. So this was at usepassionfruit.com. You can read about
Mm.
their Series A. So I love the company name. Shout out to Andy Garcia and 8 Million Ways to Die. So he was a Coke dealer with a snow cone machine in his limo, and his favorite flavor was passion fruit. So whenever he would roll up on somebody, he'd have a snow cone, and he would say, "Passion fruit, baby, passion fruit." So I love the name just for that alone.
I
Anyhow,
kind of feel like this is going to be the clip that goes
oh yeah,
viral. It's a
passion fruit,
passion fruit,
baby,
baby.
passion fruit, baby. Anyhow, it's a cool play. I like that they connect with the enterprise. So again, it's a freelancer platform. Gen
Okay.
Z, very specific Gen Z freelancer platform. And I like the way that they connect with the enterprise. So, $9 million, not a small chunk of change. Good for
Mm-hmm.
them.
Nice.
Passion, passion fruit, baby.
Passion fruit. All right. So Ogram raises a Series B, another one with terms not disclosed. I sense a trend that I'm bringing to the show this week. So they are the leader in flexible staffing in Dubai. So they're out in the AE.
Oh,
They
cool.
focus on staffing marketplace for hospitality, logistics, retail, um, essentially enabling businesses to book and
Yeah.
manage staff,
Man,
which is
hiring in that part of the world is
in
jacked
yeah,
up.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So anyway, the round was led by I'm gonna mispronounce Orsia, um, which is their second investment in Ogram.
Hmm. Okay.
So shows a lot of confidence that they'll accomplish whatever it is they're setting out to do, and what their mission is. So there you go. Don't know how much because terms are not disclosed, but I bring you some funding news. Passion
Temps,
fruit.
passion fruit, baby. Temp staff, flexible platform work staff raises 1.16 million to help companies find, schedule, manage temporary and flexible staff. This is on staffingindustry.com, so you can learn a little bit more about that. I read it as an app, and I really like so first of all, I like the UI of the product
Mhm.
and all that other stuff. But you, as a temporary employee or a flexible staff employee, you can kind of pick the place that you want to go work at, and then it's
Hmm.
just like any gig work.
Right.
So I think staffing firms in general need more tech that's
Yeah.
focused on them. So go and take a look at the Work Staff is the name of the company, Work Staff. And if you want to read the article, you can read that at staffingindustry.com.
Yep. So two things here. One, why not just make it 1.2? Why not round it up?
Dude, you saw me struggle with that. 1.16. Like,
Like,
could
or
you
just
round up?
make it one. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Like,
round up.
give me 50
Yeah,
cents. 50
it's
cents more
like
is all I need.
it's like I'm at
Um,
CVS. They're like, "Do you want to round
eh,
up?" Like, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
great,
please. Like, yeah.
just done.
Put it in my bank account as you do it. The other thing is, I think you're right. Staffing agencies need more tech.
Yep.
And I think in the next, we'll just call it a decade. I think a decade would be too long. I don't think staffing
Yeah.
obviously is never going to go away. A
No.
decade might be too long, but the generations have shifted, right? Like the working force is shifting. And if they don't have the right technology, staffing is hard today. It's going to be very hard in the next 5 to 10 years if they're not moving faster, and not just
Agreed.
by building your LinkedIn connections. Like it's time to move on and give them an actual tech play that candidates, especially with gig workers and flexible working and all of this stuff that's out in
Yeah.
the world today. Um, you need access. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot of this. I think you are 100% correct.
All right, two more. Early Bird AI raises 800K to enhance employee software, excuse me, employee support software.
Ah,
And of course, as I read that, I had no idea what the hell employee support software was.
ah,
So this is at uktech.news. So you can read a little bit more about Early Bird AI. So you might ask, what is employee support software? I got you, fam. Lower income workers support AI through voice recognition that understands dialects so that they can apply for the right jobs and are understood. So it is a
hmm.
really cool piece of technology. So
Why lower
basically,
income?
well, because what they're doing is they're solving for people, this is UK based, and they're solving for all the different dialects, people that have come in from different countries and have
Right,
different, different dialects. They're not understood,
right.
like in interviews and things like that. And so this is a way to both hear and then translate into a
Hmm.
way so that they're heard, they're understood.
Right.
They can understand. That's why it's support software. It supports the candidate, it supports the
Right.
employee to understand what's being said. Like again, they might not understand the language, and their language might not be understood. Not might. We'll just scratch that. They're
Hmm.
not. So this technology solves that through AI, solves that particular problem.
Okay.
So that's why it's called support software. So
Support
that's
software.
very cool. Tech 1M. So it's just tech. The number one and M has secured 750K to revolutionize hiring with its recruitment intelligence platform, which leverages AI and data analytics to simplify global talent acquisition and human AI augmentation system. So when I
Holy
first started
crap.
read that, I'm like, dude. All right, so that's on tech
I'm ready
funding
for a
news. Just tapped out. All right, that's techfundingnews.com, so you can go find a lot of buzzwords, which is what we both fell asleep with.
Hmm.
But when you dig in, I like the play. It leverages human AI augmentation workflows to streamline the entire process.
Hmm.
So it's built with the intent. So like if you take like someone we love, like say a greenhouse, they build it from the ground up with AI, right?
Hmm.
This is built with the intent of humans and AI and augmentation from the ground up. So it's bolt on versus built in,
Hmm.
something we've talked about in the past. So in this case, it was built from the ground up. Like they started this with the intent of recruiting in the future is about augmenting these things to one another. Like just like what
Right.
you said up in your research, where this is not one or the other, or one comes at
Right.
some pace. No, the entire process is a balancing of who does what. Does AI do? Does it? Does humans do it? Et cetera, et cetera. So
Hmm.
I mean, it's not $750,000. I shouldn't say it's not a lot of money. It's probably a friends and family round or a seed
Right.
round. But the fact that they built this system from the ground up with this in mind, I think it's actually something to pay attention
Yeah.
to.
It's a little bit to get
And
them going. We'll see where it's at. So
that's it. That's it.
we're done, man. This is all we got today. This is kind of a cool week. Cool, a lot of cool stories out there. I think my favorite might be your homeboys in Texas buying mustard and ketchup and forks and
We're gonna go ahead and buy napkins with your tips.
goodness.
Thanks. Mine was the
Anyway,
mine was the Chinese pre-screen. I think
yeah,
that
that's pretty cool too. Yeah. Are you pregnant? Get the fuck out of here.
I'm
Go pee
sorry.
on this, please.
I'm
That's
sorry. You're going to have to go pee on this, and
oh
we'll
goodness.
see. Let's check the results.
All right,
That's so
guys.
dark.
It is, but thank you all so much. Please subscribe and like us everywhere. Also, if you have a moment, reviews always help. So find us on your most favoritist. Is that even a word? Favoritist?
Just kind of got work with it.
Favoritist
Get it.
podcast app. Review us. Give us a like. Give us a listen, and share with your friends. We shall see you in another lifetime.
Buy some fruit, baby.